Remember waking up on a January morning in 1973 and the inside of your bedroom window was covered in ice? Not just frost, actual ice, thick enough to draw patterns in with your fingernail. You could see your breath in the air, hanging like little clouds above your bed. The house was silent, except for the distant clatter of your mum downstairs, trying to coax the ancient boiler back to life. Winter wasn't just a season back then. It was something you survived, something that demanded ingenuity, resilience, and a stubborn refusal to let the freeze win. There were no thermostats you could adjust from your phone, no underfloor heating, no next-day delivery of electric blankets. You made do, you got creative, but those winters, they're gone now, and so are the small, scrappy, beautiful ways we got through them. Today, we're stepping back into the Britain winters felt longer, colder, and darker. When ice formed on the inside of windows, when power cuts plunged entire streets into candlelight, when you layered jumpers until you could barely move your arms. But here's the thing, in that fight, there was community. There was warmth that had nothing to do with temperature. There were traditions born out of necessity that somehow became the most cherished parts of the season. So join me as we journey back and remember 12 things Brits did to get through winter in the 60s and 70s. Some will make you smile. Some might make you shiver. All of them are part of a Britain that no longer exists. Number 1. Sleeping under a mountain of blankets. Duvets didn't arrive in Britain until the mid-72nd, and even then, they were viewed with suspicion. A strange continental invention that couldn't possibly be as good as proper British blankets. So you slept under layers, sheets, wool blankets, eiderdowns, candlewick bedspreads. The weight of it all pinned you to the mattress like a medieval pressing. You'd tuck yourself in so tightly that turning over in the night required a full-body maneuver. And in the morning, getting out of bed was an act of courage. You'd count to 3, then throw the covers back and sprint to get dressed before hypothermia set in. There was no such thing as lounging in bed on a winter Saturday. The bed was a survival pod, and leaving it was a tactical operation. But there was something comforting about that weight, wasn't there? That heavy, reassuring pressure that said, you're safe here, you're held. Modern duvets are lighter, easier, more efficient, but they don't pin you down quite the same way. They don't make you feel quite so anchored in the storm. Number 2, hot water bottles as survival tools. The hot water bottle wasn't a luxury. It was essential equipment. Every household had at least 2 rubber ones in jewel tones, wrapped in knitted covers that your nan had made. You'd fill them from the kettle just before bed, then tuck them between the sheets 20 minutes before you climbed in. The ritual of it was sacred, the warmth seeping through the blankets, the way you'd curl your whole body around it in the night, chasing that pocket of heat. By morning, it would be stone cold, but for those first few hours, it was heaven. And if you were poorly, the hot water bottle became medicinal. Your mum would bring it wrapped in a towel, and somehow, it made everything better. Now we have electric blankets and smart thermostats, but none of them require your mum to boil the kettle, especially for you. Number 3, wearing your coat indoors. It sounds absurd now, doesn't it? Wearing your coat inside your own home. But in the 60s and 70s, especially during the energy crises and power cuts, it was just what you did. You'd come home from school, and instead of taking your coat off, you'd just keep it on. Maybe unbutton it if you were feeling optimistic. You'd do your homework in your duffel coat, eat your tea in your parka, watch the telly in your anorak. Central heating was still a rarity in many homes, and even if you had it, running it all day was unthinkable, too expensive, too wasteful. So you heated the person, not the house. Vests, jumpers, cardigans, coats, layers upon layers. You moved through the rooms like a padded astronaut, slow and careful. There was a certain pride in it too, a stoicism. We're fine, your parents would say, teeth chattering slightly. Just wrap up warm. And you did, because complaining about the cold wouldn't make it warmer. You just got on with it. Today, we expect comfort as a default, warmth at the touch of a button. But back then, comfort was something you made, something you earned. And maybe, just maybe, it meant a little more because of that. Number 4, gathering around the paraffin heater. If your family had a paraffin heater, you were doing all right. These portable, smelly, slightly dangerous contraptions sat in the corner like a glowing orange savior. You'd crowd around it after tea, drawn to it like moths to a flame. The smell was unmistakable. That sharp, chemical tang of burning paraffin that clung to your clothes. You'd toast your hands until they were almost too hot to bear, then pull back, let the cold creep in, then lean forward once more. Those heaters are relics now, replaced by sleek electric radiators. Safer, yes. Cleaner, absolutely. But they don't gather the family quite the same way. They don't create that tight little circle of warmth in a cold, dark room. Number 5, frost patterns on the windows. Ice could form on the inside of your windows. Beautiful, intricate frost patterns, fern-like fronds, and feathery crystals spreading across the glass like nature's own artwork. You'd wake up, and the world outside would be invisible, hidden behind a screen of ice. You'd scrape a little peephole with your fingernail, or breathe on the glass to melt a porthole of clarity. Sometimes you'd draw pictures in it, knowing they'd freeze over again within the hour. power. It was magical, in its way, but it was also just normal. Double glazing changed all that. The frost patterns disappeared, and with them, a tiny piece of winter's wildness. That daily reminder that nature doesn't care about your four walls. Number 6. Power cuts and candlelight evenings. The 1,970 seconds were punctuated by power cuts. The house would plunge into darkness, and for a moment, there'd be silence. Then, the scramble for candles. You'd light them and place them around the room, and suddenly, the ordinary living room transformed. Shadows danced on the walls. You'd play cards by candlelight, tell stories. There was a sense of adventure to it, especially for kids. Like camping indoors. It was inconvenient, frustrating, but it forced you together. No screens, no distractions, just family, candlelight, and the quiet hum of shared existence. When the lights came back on, there was always a little cheer, but also, maybe, a tiny flicker of dismemberment, because the magic was over. Number 7. Vests, thermals, and Liberty bodices. You didn't just throw on a jumper. No, you started with a vest, a proper cotton or wool vest that trapped warmth close to your body. For children, especially girls, there was the dreaded Liberty bodice, a thick, fleecy undergarment that felt like a straitjacket, but it kept you warm. Thermal underwear became popular too. By the time you were fully dressed, you could barely bend your arms or legs. You looked like the Michelin Man, but you were warm, and that was victory enough. Today's thermal technology is sleek and high performance, but those old vests weren't just clothing. They were battle gear. Number 8. Sunday roasts as central heating. Your mum didn't just cook a Sunday roast because it was tradition. She cooked it because it heated the house. That oven, on for 2 or 3 hours, pumping warmth into the kitchen and beyond it, was your most efficient heating system. By midday, the kitchen would be gloriously warm. Steam fogged the windows. The smell of roasting meat filled the air. Everyone would migrate there, drawn by heat and hunger in equal measure. And then the meal itself. Hot gravy, roast potatoes. You'd eat until you were stuffed, and that internal warmth would last for hours. It was practical, yes, but it was also deeply comforting. A weekly ritual that said, we're still here, we're still warm. Number 9. Stone hot water bottles and heated bricks. If you didn't have a rubber hot water bottle, you got creative. Some families used stoneware bottles. Others heated bricks in the oven, wrapped them in old towels, and tucked them into the bed. It sounds primitive, almost comic, but it worked. That brick would radiate heat through the towels and into the sheets. There was a sort of pioneer ingenuity to it, a refusal to be beaten by the cold, no matter what. Today, we've outsourced warmth to technology, but we've lost that hands-on relationship with warmth, that sense of creating your own comfort, one heated brick at a time. Number 10. Communal living rooms and closed-off rooms. In winter, you didn't heat the whole house. You couldn't afford to, so you closed off the rooms you weren't using. Bedrooms, dining rooms, they became cold storage. The family would congregate in the living room. That's where the fire or heater was. That's where life happened. You'd spend entire evenings there, all of you, crammed together, sharing body heat as much as anything else. Privacy was a luxury winter didn't allow. If you wanted to be warm, you had to be together. There was a closeness to it that's hard to replicate now. Today, we can heat the whole house with ease, but we've spread out. We've lost that forced togetherness. Number 11. Condensation just part of life. Here's an unpleasant memory. Waking up to find the windowsills soaking wet with condensation, water pooling, running down the walls. You'd wipe it up with an old towel and know you'd be doing the same thing tomorrow. And where there was condensation, there was often mold, black spots creeping up the corners. You'd scrub it off with bleach, but it always came back. It sounds grim now, but it was just accepted. Modern homes have largely eliminated this problem, but that everyday battle with the elements, that constant reminder that your home was under siege, that's gone. Number 12. The spring thaw. And then, one day, it would break. You'd wake up and the frost would be gone. The sun would shine with warmth behind it. You'd step outside without bracing yourself, and the air would feel soft instead of sharp. Spring didn't just arrive, it rescued you. After months of surviving, the thaw felt like a miracle. You'd fling open the windows, peel off the extra jumpers, and because you'd been tested, spring felt earned. Now winters are milder, heating is better, and that's good. But we've lost that spring relief, that deep, grateful exhale, because you can only feel saved if you first felt endangered. So there they are, 12 small, scrappy ways Brits got through winter in the 60s and 70s. Those winters were hard, uncomfortable, sometimes miserable, but they also forged something we've since lost. A resilience, yes, but more than that, a togetherness. We're more comfortable now, warmer, safer, healthier, and that's progress. But comfort has a cost too. We've insulated ourselves not just from the cold, but from each other. We don't gather around the same heater, don't crowd into the same living room, don't share the same blanket on the sofa. But every now and then, on a cold winter night, when the central heating hums and the double glazing keeps the frost at bay, it's worth remembering the ice on the windows, the weight of the blankets, the candlelight evenings, because those weren't just survival tactics. They were rituals, they were memories. They were love made warm. What do you remember about winters past? Share your memories in the comments below. Let's keep those cold, beautiful, impossible winters alive just for a little while longer, because they're gone now and they're never coming back.